Marissa Hall, and this is my final project for FLHD 1500. It's the option C for the final, and what I have chosen to do is I created a series of embroidery images that represent a lifetime of a certain person. The person I chose was my grandpa Zobell, who's my grandpa on my maternal grandfather. And this project I thought would take me maybe 30 hours, but partly due to the fact that the day I started was also the day that I broke my right hand. So I did the entire thing left-handed, which let me just say I'm a little proud of that, and it actually turned out a little interesting because I had to do it as a lefty. But I'm estimating around 100 hours completing this project. So, and as you'll notice, the quality of the pictures tends to vary, and that actually was on purpose because I feel as you are going through your life, you change like you learn and you evolve and you get better at life as you're going through it. So I incorporated that into my project. And they also vary on how meaningful they are, these pictures, because that's also how life goes. Some things in life are much more meaningful than others, and as you develop through life, some things are more or less important or more or less prevalent in your lifespan. So I've decided to incorporate a lot of that. So this, let's see, we'll start over here. This is a basketball and football, and I did these because my grandpa is very into sports, even now as he spends all his time in a nursing home. He is constantly keeping up with college sports and the brackets and all that, and just he loves it. He's nuts about that stuff. So I decided to have that. Yeah, and then the next one I did, this is a diploma because my grandfather is very much about education. He is a huge advocate for you have to go to school, you have to go to college. It's always worth it. Whatever education you can get, you need to go to school and you need to do this. It's something that he's been huge about. It's been a huge influence. And so that's something that's been very, very important to him is just learning and education and doing all of that you can, which I think partly because it was harder for him to do it himself because he participated in World War II. So that sort of thing is just more difficult. So the next thing that I decided to do was some stamps because he loves to collect stamps. He's all about that stuff. And if you'll notice, there's 1924 on the green stamp because that is the year that he was born. And then the star on the top stamp is meant to kind of represent just his love for the country and how patriotic he is because he loves all that stuff. He's very, very American, all about that. And then the last one on this piece, oh, not the last one, but second last one, is an old-fashioned bicycle because he loves to bike. And I think kind of like the old-fashioned design kind of represents kind of the era in which he grew up because he didn't grow up in the same time that I did. Surprise, because he's a grandpa now. It represents kind of the older era and kind of that evolution of life goes on and things change, but so that's kind of important. And then across these, there's little blocks with an R, A, G, K, and D on them. And these represent his children. The blue ones are the boys, and the pink ones are the girls. And there's one for each of his children. There's Ralph, Amy, Greg, Carrie, and Dwayne. Carrie is my mother. So that's just because he loves his children. He is all about family. We have family reunions all the time. He loves family. His kids are very, very important to him. So I just I thought it'd be nice to have his children there. So thought like little blocks, like what little kids play with, to represent that they're still children. Everyone's still kind of a child, and they're still his children. So that's why I thought, the little blocks, like what little kids play with, the little ABC blocks that you play with when you're a kid. And the next section that I have is where these start to be more complicated for the most part and more sophisticated because that's kind of how life goes. I have it's a fishing pole and a rifle because he is all about the hunting and the fishing, and it's something that he has enjoyed his entire life long. So I felt like that was pretty important to include, just because it's something that he really loves, which he can't do as much now, but he still goes out for elk hunting every fall and stuff, and it's something that's very significant in his life, and he's kept it. It's something that he's kept doing his whole life, is being outside and doing that. Another thing that has had a great impact, and may I just say, this picture took forever to finish. It took a lot of effort to complete, but I made this, which, whoops, sorry, there we go. It's a book, in case you can't tell, and because he loves literature, he even now, like, he's pretty old, his body's not doing so great anymore, but he is a book nut. He reads all the time. He's always read all the time. He'll read biographies, fiction, novels. He'll read whatever he can get his hands on. And it's something, developing your brain, having that literature in your life is so important to him. So I feel like that was very, very important to add, and you might notice all the little detail that I put in there, and it took a lot of effort, I'll be honest. The next thing that I have, this is a U.S. Navy anchor, which represents his time that he spent in the Navy in World War II. And it's, he, I feel like he was impacted a lot by his time that he spent in the Navy. It was a big thing for him fighting in the war like that. He was over in the Philippines, stationed at various bases over there, and then he eventually came home after the war on a banana boat, and now he can't eat bananas. But this is a very important thing to him, that he served in the military. It's something that is very close to his heart. And the final thing that I'd like to show you, this is an image of two doves on some plain gold wedding bands. And this represents his marriage to my late grandmother, because he loved her more than life itself, really, and he still does. And he still wears his wedding ring and everything, and just that love and connection that he has to her, it's so very important to him, and that's something that has shaped his life and how he has gone throughout his time here so much. And when she passed, it was very, very hard on him. She got cancer about 10 years ago, actually 12 years ago now, and that was only like 5 years after my own mother had passed. My mother was the youngest of his children, so that was very hard, having his little girl pass like that, and then his wife soon afterward. But because of this, family is very, very important to him, and something that he feels to be very essential in life. So those images are, I feel, a pretty accurate representation of the life of Rex Zobell, my grandfather. hope you've enjoyed this video, and I am perfectly willing to answer any further questions or anything that you might have. Thank you.